So, a little update for you. The John Deere has lost a bit more compression. The engine is cold now. I'm going to show you something. See, see how little compression that's got? I'm able to spin that over. Like, there's literally no compression at all, hardly. That's how bad it is. There's a compression point right there. But now, as soon as I hit the key, it'll probably start. But because of that low compression problem, this is going to go into the shop. And things that's got to be done. For sure, I think my flywheel's done. It's shot. I'm going to have this wire replaced because it sparks whenever I go to hit the key. And the starter's going to have to be replaced because that's loose for whatever. That shouldn't be loose at all. The whole connector's loose and the bolt is tight. So there's a few things wrong with this. The engine's got a problem. The starter, for some reason, I don't know why that is, like I said, I don't know why that's loose. It shouldn't be loose. But yeah. And right there is the steering for the tie rod there. To steer it. That's actually in a weird spot. I've never seen anything like that before. But anyway. The starter solenoid's right there. Let's see what else we got going on. My lights aren't hooked up. And right there's an empty hookup for that. So I'm going to have them hooked out. My headlights back up, so that's going to have to be re-hooked up. Things like that. I'm going to have to replace the battery, obviously. The only way this thing will start, with it being as low as it is on compression, is with starting fluid. But otherwise, without starting fluid, it ain't going to start. But yeah, that's just a little update on that. The amount of hours is unknown. My voltage meter does not work. So that has been disabled. And right back there, it's not even hooked up anymore. So, the things I would like to have them possibly do, if they can do it, is put an hour meter on this thing. But it'd have to go down here somewhere by that ignition. So, hopefully get an hour meter put on this thing. That was something I would like to have done. But I can guarantee you this thing has over 5,000 hours. Easy. It probably exceeds 5,000 hours. Now, keep in mind, this is a 1976 John Deere. So, this mower is 50 years old. So, with that said, I would not be surprised if this has over 5,000 hours. So, the things that I did do to it before we moved was replace the front tires. That is already done. Front tires have been replaced. The things that need to be addressed, as you can see by the stuff that's been leaking, a mixture of hydraulic fluid and some motor oil as well. And I think it is leaking oil right around the valve cover gasket somewhere. Other than that, that's about where we're at with that. And then future things to have done to it. Once everything else mechanically is done, once the engine's taken care of, I am probably going to repaint this thing so it looks nicer. I am going to have my back tires replaced. Otherwise, I'm going to have to keep putting air in the tires just to use it. There's that. And oddly enough, okay, this mower runs on a full-size car battery. It's a small car battery. Which I think is something they thought was practical back in the 1970s. Of course, back then they didn't have the square batteries like they do now for this. That's a 1999 Cub Cadet. This one needs a little bit of work in the front end. Otherwise, it runs fine. But, and as you can see, how severely weather cracked my tires are. On up until the lights had to be unhooked. They did work, but when my starter went out the first time it went out, it fried everything: my ignition, the fuel pump, the wiring, things like that. If they can somehow wire a toggle switch up to my battery, then that'll work, or somehow, or tie in that empty hook. It's actually supposed to be hooked up to this switch right here. That's my headlight switch, okay? That's my headlight switch. Obviously, what I'd love to have happen, if they could, is somehow tie in the headlight wiring into my ignition so the lights just run all the time. I don't have to worry about it. Obviously, as you can see, this thing, it's got surface rust on it. I mean, the frame is in pretty good shape for the most part. Just some surface rust, but that's nothing to sneeze about. Otherwise, the frame is in pretty good shape all the way around it. If it was in worse shape, I would have just junked this. But since the frame has still got plenty of life in it, I'm going to get this thing fixed, have the engine redone, and then it'll be good to go. Now, let's talk about the Cub Cadet. This thing does need new tires all the way around. Headlights doesn't work either. And that's a wiring problem, which I would like to have that addressed on this. But my lights are good. I just put the light bulbs in, and still, for some reason, I have no headlights. So that's that. This eventually will have to have the engine rebuilt. Got just a slight oil leak up there. It's nothing major, but nothing major at all. It looks like, otherwise, this engine is in relatively good shape. Things that I do have to do to this, since this thing did set for 2 years without being started, is replace that fuel pump and do something with that fuel filter at some point. Otherwise, it does run. Maybe do something with the carburetor and get it straightened out. Things I did do to it yesterday was put a couple of fuses in. And there's a wiring harness. All that fun jazz. My battery is out of my 1997 MTD that I had. Because when I got this, the battery was junk. So, again, this mower did set for 2 years without being started. And I messed with this for a little over a week or so. And I eventually got it started to where it stayed running once I got it to my house. I got it running on starting fluid and had it running on its own for the very first time in 2 years. Now, I did 5 different separate videos on YouTube. Just search on YouTube. First start, 2-year-old start, 1999 Cub Cadet HDS 2135, part 1 through 5. One thing that this does have going on is my deck is shot. So, this will have to be completely replaced. The tensioner pulley on the deck is gone. The little spring that it was held on by actually come off. So, right up here in the front, right here's the tensioner. Right there's the tensioner right there. I also got to put a new belt on this deck. And then otherwise it'd be good to go. The PTO does work. But oftentimes I do have issues sometimes with that PTO switch sticking, and it does run the battery down. I did have to jump start this thing the other day because of that. I did replace fuses yesterday. And there's a relay back there. I bet my fuse is bad for the headlights, I bet. Things I would like to do to this one at some point, have engine work done to this. Get the side shells rebuilt or redone or whatever. I'd have to have all this up here aligned out first. That's been shoved in. That's actually supposed to be straight. Whatever it happened here, got hit. It hit right here. Kind of kinked it, pushed it in, and kind of kinked it this way. So as you see, it's kind of bowed out and pushed this way. And twisted right there in front of the frame. Otherwise, the frame is straight for the most part. Frame has no rust on this one either. So, I mean, this mower has potential. It just needs a little bit of work. It will need a little bit of front end work as well. Other than that, there is nothing majorly wrong with this Cub Cadet. It does start up and run. When I got it, had 638 hours. Another thing I got going on with this is sometimes the hour meter does not work. When it gets cold, it doesn't work. So there's that. But so I don't know how, it's not too far off. It's got probably close to 657 hours, or if not right at, but it says, according to the dash, 656.8 hours. So, but we'll roll with it, you know. If you guys remember the cold start battle on YouTube, between 3 lawnmowers, this Cub Cadet right here, 1999 Cub Cadet HTS 2135, my friend's 2006 Cub Cadet Super LT 1554, and that John Deere was involved in that battle as well. Sub-zero temperatures, and believe it or not, these coolers will start in sub-zero temperatures. But I'll tell you, it's not easy getting them started, but they will run. So, I mean, that's just something to address. The next thing to address also, to have done, obviously my tie rods are a little bit iffy. So that's another thing to have addressed. That'll be a later thing. What else? The ignition was replaced before I got it. So I'm not too overly worried about that right now. Nothing wrong with the ignition. Tires all the way around are bad. Severely weather cracked, as you can tell. So again, that's something at a later date that will be getting taken care of. But right now, I'm not worried about it. They hold air. Right front tire, if it sets too long, it does go flat. That's something that has been an ongoing issue ever since my friend had it. But it ain't going flat. It's not super low, but it's getting low. Anyway, Other than that, everything works on this mower as it should. And can't wait to get some joyride videos out this summer with my Cub Cadet. And I'm hoping to get this whole entire John Deere repainted before it enters another parade. If not, it will go in as is. It is what it is. This thing is an original survivor. And I think also the PTO clutch needs to be fixed. And this, that looks like it's kind of kinked back and up a little bit. That was like that when I got it, I believe. But nothing major. Otherwise, the frame is straight. But yeah, I've had this John Deere for a couple of years, and you know, just stupid minor things have went wrong with it since I've had it. But now, the compression issue had became more apparent the more I used it. Now, the next thing I do need to also have done is have that spark plug replaced and possibly that coil. That coil is still the original one that I know of. So, that is something to maybe have addressed. Like I said, the starter is going to have to be replaced again. Like I said, due to the connector thing being loose at the top. Another thing is the brakes doesn't work. The brake shoes are basically non-existent. The only way I've been stopping the mower is with that. I would love to maybe have them check the brakes, but my brother said the brake shoes are basically non-existent. But that's okay. Anyway, that's your update on the mowers for this year. But this one here will be going into the shop sometime at the end of this month into February sometime. So if that's going to happen, I got to find a deck for this one. So I have a mower in case it's in the shop for the first half of the mowing season. So then that way I'll have at least a mower to mow the yard with. But otherwise, we'll keep you guys up to date. Further information to come when it happens. Stay tuned. In order to be updated on that, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. Make sure you ring that post bell notification icon and choose all notifications so you don't miss out on the future update on my mowers or any kind of video that I post. With that said, before I go, I just want to remind you guys that Jesus loves you. God bless, and we'll see you next time.